Good morning and welcome to my presentation. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is Czech Republic's architecture. This presentation is structured as follows. There will be 3 different parts for each architecture. Their name and the period during which they were used. Their main characteristics. The main building associated with them. When I use the word Gothic, you might think about the Gothic fashion at first. You know, the people who wear dark clothes, dark makeup, and have crazy hairstyle. But that's not what I'm talking about. Gothic actually refers to a group of Germanic barbarians who invaded much of the Western Roman Empire. When the people of the 12th century used Gothic to describe the first Gothic church, they meant it was unrefined, barbaric, and non-Roman. The first defining characteristic of the Gothic style is a pointed arch. The pointed arch was used to direct the weight of the vaulted roof downwards along its rib. Unlike the earlier Romanesque churches, which depended solely on the walls to carry the immense weight of the roof. One of its defining characteristics is what we call the gargoyle. It's a sculptural waterspout placed to prevent rainwater from running down masonry walls. They are often used in scary movies due to their scary-looking appearance, but they are actually harmless. Its other main characteristic is the tracery. It refers to a series of thin stone frames inlaid in window openings to support the glass. As you can see, the windows are bigger and wider than those of the Romanesque churches. It lets in more light and is more beautiful. This building is one of the most important historical landmarks of South Bohemia. It is recognized as a cultural monument by the Ministry of Culture. This one is also a Gothic church. It's located in Prague. The second architectural style that I will present to you is the Renaissance style. It appeared in the 5th century and lasted until the 17th century. First, only 3 types of buildings were built: churches, palazzos, and villas. While Gothic architecture makes use of some geometrical shapes, it does not have an understanding of them as Renaissance architecture does. Most people tend to associate columns with ancient Greek or Roman temple, but they are also an important characteristic of Renaissance architecture. I think it's important to mention the vibrantly painted interiors of most Renaissance buildings, despite not exactly being an architectural characteristic. Just take a look at those breathtaking painted interior. Domes are familiar architectural elements that are still widely used in contemporary buildings. However, they were not used in medieval architecture and made a comeback only in the Renaissance. Because Renaissance architecture has proportion, harmony, linearity. Symmetry seems to be a natural requirement that completes this picture. This castle is one of the largest Renaissance castles in the Czech Republic. It is owned by the Czech state. It was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's the summer house of the royal family, built in the shape of a star. The next architectural style that I will present to you is Baroque style. It appeared in the 17th century and it lasted till the 18th century. If Renaissance artists began painting ceiling for patrons, the Baroque took it to another level. During the Renaissance, it was just an optional feature.
For the Baroque movement, it became a standard. If there is an architectural style that thrives in details, it surely is Baroque. It made extensive use of details, its principal mission. One cannot grasp all the details in one view. Everything is assembled to look as divine as if you stepped into heaven. Not everyone could cover the expensive cost of constructing grand Baroque monuments. This is where illusion would come into play. It was a feature that could cut some of the expenses to make construction more budget-friendly. There is a reason why Baroque is jokingly considered among art historians to be a sort of kitsch. Wallenstein Palace is a Baroque palace in Prague. It's the first Baroque palace in Central Europe. The Church of St. Margaret is also a Baroque church.
The third architectural style that I will present to you is the neoclassical architecture. It appeared in the 18th century and it lasted until the 19th century. A series of columns are a consistent, repeated element in neoclassical architecture. Decorations are kept to a minimum, and the exterior is built to represent classical perfection and simplicity of form. They are often gardened around buildings that follow geometric patterns.
Those buildings represent the neoclassical architecture.
The last architectural style that I will present to you is the Empire style. It appeared in the 19th century. The second imperial residences often had a simple box form, square or rectangular, and highly symmetrical. A central projecting pavilion often highlights the entrance in the form of a porch or elaborate canopy with some form of protection from weather. Entrances are typically elevated above the grade by several steps, and doors are typically double or extra wide single door. Windows were often placed over an entrance, were arranged in pairs, and sometimes as triple sets.
This is the most important building in the Empire style. Its library has over 40,000 of books.